Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? Great, I hope. So, with that said, hey, you guys, you want to do a dungeon with me? Yes, that's right. It's episode 2. Episode 1 was so well received, total of 10 views. I was really happy until I realized half those were me. But for those of you who have watched episode 1, thank you for all your support. Now, let's thank our sponsors. We have a new transportation provider for the show. That's right, the Horseshoe Road in Arden, as well as entertainment services provided by the comedy duo of Neil and Bob. And of course,
Investigation's like a dance, yeah? You can know
sponsor,
all the
Carl.
steps, but it is useless.
All right.
Yeah? Oh, that'll be fun.
That being said, I would not have paid to go see this in theaters, or if I did, I would be upset. Nor would I rush out and get Disney just to see this movie. But since I already had Disney and I saw this movie, I gotta say it's worth a watch. It definitely is funny. I love Ryan Reynolds. I love everything he's done except for Green Lantern. But I will say he may not have been the right choice to cast in this. There's lots of times you can see him.
Hi, Cora. I'm picking up some familiar darkness readings. The same sort of energy the pyramids give off.
My hidden have reported Scorn smuggling pyramid tech into the throne world, though their ultimate purpose there remains unclear. Stay cautious, but see what you can learn.
We're on it.
Facial expressions that he's completely understanding every joke, every line, every gag, and it kind of throws it off a little bit. But I love the video game calls. I love the infinite backpack. They're putting weapons into it and they just disappear. I love the whole video game-esque version of it. I love the comedy. I love the concept of an AI. They really didn't. They touched on it, but they didn't bring up the real heavy issue. Is if there was an AI capable of all this, would it be entitled to rights? I mean, it isn't it. It is a creation. But if it's an AI, if it's sentient, does that elevate it to the level where it deserves right? Luckily, they keep the movie comedic. They don't really go heavily into that. Other than to say to turn off the machine.
Eris, we're in position. Where are we headed?
Your destination lies deep within the fortress, Guardian, in the apothecary wing. There you should find a particular shard of crystal. Before her lucent transformation, Savathun was in the custody of the Awoken, securely bound within a crystalline cell, or so it seemed.
So this crystal is a piece of her former prison, which means it was likely on her when she stole the light.
Yes. My source believes the events leading to her escape are intrinsically linked to the mystery before us now. This crystal could very well be the clue we've been looking for.
Love you. That being said, we're into Destiny. So, I've tried out Destiny 2 Witch Queen Legendary campaign, which is the same campaign.
That must be the apothecary wing. All the way over there.
Oh my God.
Yes. Savathun's halls are just as winding and deceitful as her mind. To move forward, you must seek out the more aberrant paths.
Medium range bosses and bosses are almost unkillable. I definitely am not geared enough for this. People have given me suggestions of go get Galahorn. And I will eventually, but I want to beat the campaign first before I go into all the side content that I missed over the years. Even though I did purchase it all. Overall, I still love Destiny 2, love the story. I think they did a great job in the campaign. I will say it gets a little weird. As far as storylines go, this is a alternate universe per se. So things aren't supposed to make complete sense. They've got better technology, blah, blah, blah. But I hate when...
Eris said we have to seek out the aberrant paths. So what looks aberrant around here?
The enemies, the main... I'm trying not to put spoilers. Bad guys temple, and this object will reveal a memory of theirs to you so that you can figure out how they gained power. And so far, a lot of the memories that I've gathered in the campaign are very nonsensical to me. And that could be very easily written off as the fact that I didn't play Destiny 2 from the beginning. I will also say that I thought I was advancing very quickly in light level, their version of levels essentially. Even though it's based off
Eris,
your gear,
what's the situation?
The Guardian is en route to the object in question now, Commander.
Good.
Light level,
You are sure this will get us the
I thought
answers
it was
we
pretty
need?
good that I was
We can't
supposed to
afford another dead end.
The Queen of the
Cat
Reef
being
does not
at
share information
15,
lightly.
50,
Mara
60,
Sov gave you
60,
the tip?
depending on
You didn't mention that
what you were
before.
trying to do.
I did, in fact, mention it.
Well,
To
and it took
Ikora,
you
moments
10
before
minutes.
you interrupted us. She agreed there was no more reliable source on this matter than Savathun's former captor.
I trust Mara, but she
Endgame
plays her
light
cards
level,
too close to her chest. If she had
but
shared
now
this
so
earlier,
shows
we wouldn't be
like
so
the
desperate
first
now.
few days,
To win against the
I ran
hive
through
god of cunning and lies,
not so much.
it's
And
best
certain
not to
things
show
are
one's
fine,
hand too early.
but the campaign itself has so many puzzles. See, I love. If you call Destiny 2 a shooter, you're completely wrong. Although I had this discussion already with somebody else who said, Witch Queen changed the game. And it may have. Until I get into other content, I can't really judge completely. But I can at least say now, today, it is not just a shooter. It is not just how many Forsaken you kill. There are a lot of puzzles, a lot of things to figure out, a lot of jumps that got to be precisely made at a certain angle. There's where do you go? There is a lot to it more than just shooting and running and hiding and shooting. Figuring out codes. It's not quite on the level of Myst as far as difficulty in figuring stuff out. But if you just want to mindlessly run around and shoot, you can do that. There's an open world platform on every planet that will allow you just to run around and shoot bad guys. But if you're going to play the campaign, if you're going to do the missions, if you're going to do the patrols, if you're going to do whatever, expect to use some brain power.
I bet this hive sword will be just as useful as the last one. Now we need to find a lock to smash open.
Sometimes the answer to the riddle or how to get to certain jumps, it's not, I don't want to say it's not spelled out because it shouldn't be. It should be a mystery. It should be something you have to solve. But it's almost like you would almost never figure this out. There's not a logic chain. Some programmer just threw this in here. At least that's how it feels to me. And I hate when games do that. I hate when a game is like, this is the answer because it's the answer. And there is no logic that you use to figure it out other than just trial and error and throwing yourself over and over and over and over against the puzzle until you just get it. But overall, still a great game. Maybe they didn't change this, but in my experience they have. In Gambits, which I've spoken of before, it's one of my favorite parts of the game. There's a guy at the beginning. He's called the Drifter. Usually he has like a dog tag. He flips it, and he goes, ooh, falling on the field, or scoring on the field, or whatever the enemies for that Gambit are going to be. So in my time of playing, I've seen him do 7 or 8 variations of this. Sometimes he flips a coin, sometimes he does magic tricks, pulls it out of his ear. It seems like they've taken a lot of his other graphics out of the equation. Carla, come here. Almost got her.
The Witch Queen may have recast her realm in a lucent sheen, but remnants of dark architecture still lurk underneath.
And the Guardian's new ability reveals these hidden remnants. Yes, Ikora explained. Why can't we use the light to achieve the same result?
The light may be a powerful force, but when dealing in illusions, it has proven insufficient. It is the mind that must bend to see the truths hidden here. Thus, only darkness can show the way.
My only fear is where that way will lead us in the end.
That's a lot of gigs. And for those, oh, I've got a 2 terabyte, okay? It's not simply about the space it takes up. It is about that. But now think, as you play, you're going to add data to that game file. It's going to grow. Now, it's not going to grow that excessively as far as from 80 gigs to 100 gigs. No. But it's going to grow a little bit. In that growing, you're going to have file fragmentation. With a file that large, with a world, not even an open world, an open galaxy, open solar system, where you can at will travel to any of these planets and just roam around an open planet, that's a lot of file fragmentation, can really mess that up. So I don't know. I'm not at Bungie Studios, but I think maybe they did remove some graphics that were unnecessary just to kind of get the file size down a little bit. Overall, I think Destiny 2 is still a great game. Still loving it, still exploring it, still out there in the open world, still on the campaign, still doing all the activities. Uh, there are a couple of websites I have for you guys if you're playing and you need a little help. First one is DestinyRecipes.com. Now this will look at your character and tell you what activity you should do next to get the gear you need to improve. I found it helpful to a point, but in some pieces of its advice, it does get a little vague. Like, it told me I needed to do more of the campaign to level up my guy. Great, which version? Standard or legendary?
All right, Guardian,
Because
let's focus. To find the way forward, we need a sword and something to smash with it.
The next site is the Destiny 2 companion app on your phone. Now, this is heavily tied into the Bungie website. You'll download the companion app, you'll sign in, it'll ask you what platform you play on, sign up with that platform. If you have accounts on multiple platforms, as I do, you have a thing called cross-save that you can log into, and once all those platforms are tied into that Bungie account, not only will you be able to play your characters on either of those platforms, but you can get them all on the app. The app will track all your stats. The app will allow you to talk to your clan, even if you're not at your platform. The app also offers rewards, which is really nice. Now, this is one of the few Destiny 2 apps that are left. There were a ton of others in the past. And I know this from Destiny 1, is that there was a ton of apps and companion platforms and websites that could do stuff in the games. Bungie got mad because these developers were putting codes in that were actually affecting their game and not just a companion app. So they cut a lot of that out. The Destiny 2 companion app is, of course, made by them, so that's allowed. And Destiny Recipes, I don't know why they allow that in the game, but that's also a nice piece, gives you information, will give you stats on how close you are to creating or completing certain things to get the rewards you need. All good resources for you if you'd like to play. For those of you who haven't played Destiny 2, great time to get in. They had the smush where everybody was put down to 1350 and everybody was raised up to 1350. So you're almost starting on a level playing field. Yes, people that have been playing for the past week or two are at 1500, but it's not going to take you that long to catch up. Especially if you make a buddy or two who will carry, I hate the term, carry you through the activities where you can get some gear. And it's not difficult to learn. There are optimal builds. I probably am not playing one, as I've also heard that. So the Void subclass is the only subclass right now that has this whole talent tree where you can mix and match and get different stuff on. They are working on giving every subclass that ability. So we'll see how well that works out. Right now I'm currently enjoying what I've dubbed the Captain America build. It is a Void subclass, concentrated on shields. When you go super, you get a little Captain America type shield. You run around. You can even fling it. It's fun. The other side of that subclass is what's called the Bubble Titan, where you create a bubble. Uh, Enemies that come into the bubble are weakened, and you do more damage to them when you shoot them when they're inside the bubble. And enemies cannot shoot into the bubble unless they're inside of it. I just didn't like it because you couldn't shoot out. Uh, According to what I read, you are supposed to be able to shoot out of the bubble and do more damage. But end game results that I got were that my rounds don't leave the bubble, so I had to lure enemies into it somehow. I didn't like that. That's why I've gone with the Captain America build. So, that said, that's the wrap up for Destiny 2 for this week. On to the GPU shortage, which is apparently about to end. So, here's my thing. I bought an Xbox Series S almost a year ago now. If you go into the firmware of my Xbox One Series S, it says it was built in December of 2019. But yet, there's a shortage. So how did I buy something new off the shelf from Target with such an old build date on it? Unless they are stored in a warehouse in small, limited quantities to give the appearance of a shortage. And I feel the same way about GPUs. All these graphics card companies, NVIDIA, AMD, for the last over a year, oh, it's a chip shortage. Oh, we didn't order enough, or we didn't get the shipment we expected. Oh, that's why we have to raise prices so terribly. Why do we have to raise prices at all if it's so you raised prices because you made more money? You cause a shortage, so it has nothing to do with an actual shortage. Number two, even if there was a chip shortage, even if TSCM or Sun Systems or any of these other microchip manufacturers literally couldn't produce enough, prior to now, kind of the illogical thing about electronics was the new chips came out.
You've done well honing the gift granted to you by the Black Fleet, Guardian.
But they always kind of
Do you see now, Commander, why Ikora chose as she did? For all her doubts, she knew only darkness, channeled by a strong mind, could bring us this far.
I understand.
She loves you all too.
My issue isn't with the call Ikora made, but the fact that she made it on her own. We know how Savathun operates. She singles people out for a reason. There's no need to make her job any easier. And Eris, I think you know better than anyone that darkness is not a path to be forged alone.
She wasn't alone. Though, I take your point.
But they would go into lesser products. Products that didn't need the latest and greatest. So if there was truly a chip shortage, why would you not take last year's, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago chips and build cards, build processors, build whatever off the older style chips and be like, hey, there's a shortage. If you really want a graphics card, you can get this one built on an older architecture. But they didn't do that. They didn't offer that solution. Now, NVIDIA, within the past couple months, has just flooded the market with 1650s. Oh my god. And 1650s are a great card. They really are. But they're an older architecture. They don't do DLSS or ray tracing. They're just not as good as the 2050s, 2030s, 2080s, or even the 1660, which stomps the 1650 into the dust. But it's like they found this cache of them, and they start releasing them like crazy. And AMD's done the same thing with the RX 6500 XT. Now this is a completely new card from AMD, but it's based on a lot older architecture. But my point is they did this almost a year and a half later. They waited a year and a half before that idea even occurred to them. No, they waited for the big cash to come in and buy at the inflated price before they even thought about using the old chips. That's what happened. I will say that the RX 6500 XT fell short of a bunch of their specs as far as what they promised and what was actually delivered from the card itself. But again, if anybody ever makes that complaint to them, well, it's based on this old chip. Well, you shouldn't have advertised they could do it. And now they're saying the shortage is over, so now they're going to start shipping regular graphics cards again right before Intel drops Alchemist. Isn't that convenient? So Intel said, hold on, we'll help you out during the shortage. We made these new graphics cards. We're going to ship them. We don't have a problem. And all of a sudden, all the other boys don't have a problem. They can ship too. So, as much as we like our games, I can't put up with companies that fleece the public like that. I don't know how you all feel, but that's how I feel. I'm still excited for Intel Alchemist, even though they've admitted that they will not be as competitively bleeding edge as NVIDIA and AMD's brand new offerings. But still, they are low priced, and they were putting them out during the shortage. They effectively ended the shortage just by pushing them onto the market. Because all of a sudden, all the other graphics chips makers were like, oh, we can do it. Isn't that convenient? Just remember that whenever you go shopping for parts. What Intel does and what others have done. Intel hasn't always been the greatest plate of steak and eggs, good company. But in this one instance, absolutely, they are top of the rock. Okay, so Carla is calling me to dinner, and I have other matters to attend to. Plus, this is only going to get like 2 people to view it anyway. So I'm going to go for now. And until next time, hey you guys, you want to do a dungeon with me? You all have a great day. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Well, it's time again. Hey, you guys, want to do a dungeon with me? So, this is on the heels of episode 2. I guess it's episode 3. It's really just me getting some feelings and things off my chest. So, I have a format I usually do this show in. I start off with the game I'm reviewing. I move into a blurb about what's going on, maybe a movie review, whatever. And then I talk about tech. This is purely just me straight out talking. So, my channel's not very good. I'm not very good at it. I admit it. But there's a huge learning curve to this streaming thing that I don't think everybody understands. It's not just put on the mic and talk to your heart's content. Even if you think about what you want to say, you have it kind of scripted beforehand, you get nervous, you're saying you're trying your best not to say it, and it just happens. So I really hats off to other streamers, YouTubers, Twitchers that do this a ton times better than me. And also there's an energy type of thing you have to bring to this. I don't have it yet. When I first thought about doing the show, I thought it was going to be so great. It's so easy for me to just roll the jokes off, but it's very hard to do when you don't have that instantaneous feedback. And I watch some of these other streamers, and they're able to create that chemistry even though it's just them and the camera or them and their crew. But that's really, really hard to do. My hat's off. Now, they don't hit it right every time. There are streamers that I admire and that I watch consistently that some of their episodes they're laughing and guffawing and making jokes like it's the greatest thing on bread, and I'm just not feeling it. But they're doing it to bring that energy, and I get that. I really do. I just can't do it yet. But I am going to try. I'm going to make the channel better. I'm going to get better at editing. I'm going to get better at rolling the jokes. So, let's move on to our sponsors, shall we? Well, we had the horse you rode in for our transportation services, Neil and Bob, their comedy stylings for our entertainment. And for our medical needs, we have Oh, That Hurts. We also have, for technical and IT needs, Ah, Are You Kidding Me? Okay, not that funny, but it's the best I can do. So in this episode, I'd like to talk about streamers, whether it be Twitch, YouTube, name a platform of your choice. My thing is, these other channels could crush me. I'm not the only tech guy out there, and I'm absolutely not the best streamer out there. I don't want to judge them or say I'm in their field, but I do have some things that I'd like to ask them. Like, how do you freaking run a good channel? Just kidding. Now, these guys have a massive following. They could crush me in an instant like a bug. I'm not going to mention names. Not because I'm above doing that, but basically, at this point in the channel's life, I'm very thin-skinned. I could get roasted easily. So, what this brought this on is I was watching a stream earlier from a streamer. I'm not going to name names. He was upset that another streamer from Twitch, who did not have a big following, was cheated by a company. He did say the company's name publicly, but I'm not going to. This company has ambassadors, influencers, streamers that plug their products. Part of the payment, if you will, for plugging these products is they are entered into a lottery. The prize for this lottery that this person was talking about was a new computer built specifically for streaming. So, this other streamer got chosen. Their name was pulled. The company said, no, we're not going to put out the outlay of this product. It costs too much to give to such a low-level ambassador. So, this other major streamer with hundreds of thousands of followers made a stream of him talking about how upset he was, as well as going out of his way to personally build her a streaming PC. And as much as I think that's great, and that's awesome, that's what you should do, wholeheartedly, as I'm watching this video, and I'm about to murder myself right here, so if you ever think I'm going to be famous or worth anything, and you want some dirt on me, start recording right now. The question that kept running through my mind through this whole video was, would he be doing this if it was a guy? If the streamer that got ripped off was a guy, would he go out of his way to make a video decrying what happened? Would he go out of his way to build her a PC at his cost, which really wasn't his cost because he got sponsors to cover part of it? And I just got to think that the answer is no. He did link her channel to his. I did watch her streams. She is not a tech streamer. She is a gamer. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not really a tech streamer. I mostly just game. I could do a more in-depth analysis of tech, but I don't think that's fair of me to do at this point because I don't have the money or the following to have the latest, greatest hardware to judge. And I can read tech specs all day, but unless I've personally touched the hardware, used it, and can tell you what it's really like, is it really fair of me to be out here giving a review of something I've never touched or seen in real life? Absolutely not, in my opinion. So, if I was to go in-depth tech on my channel, we would be talking about 6th generation i5s, 5th generation i7s, DDR4 RAM, RX 560 video cards, GTX 1650 video cards. Kind of low shelf tech that serious gamers will pass over because it's not the bleeding edge. And if people are interested in that, totally willing to go that way with this channel. In fact, I would love to, because I would hope that maybe a company somewhere would sponsor or get me to review some of their products. Anyway, she is a gamer. She doesn't even really review games as so much just footage of her playing it and her kind of chuckling and joking, which is great. Those streams are very entertaining. But having watched some of her streams and watched his video on her and how she got ripped off, I'm seeing this decent looking female, rainbow colored hair. I don't want to say giggling and laughing because it would give the wrong impression of her, but pretty much that kind of stick. And she totally got ripped off by this company. Completely. The lottery was an added form of payment. Even though she was paid for previous streams for this company, the fact that they had a lottery for all their ambassadors kind of makes it part of the compensation package.
This is definitely the apothecary wing. Somehow, it feels even creepier in here.
Naturally, you're trespassing on the testing grounds for the Lucent Hive's most wretched experiments.
Is completely wrong, male or female. But I just do not feel this story would have got that attention had it been a guy. And the more influencers, ambassadors, and streamers I watch, I tend to see it's almost a corrosive pattern. Not the female-male thing, but where these influencers use their army of followers to not just influence public attention, because that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to give a good review. Now, hopefully, there are streamers out there that get paid to give good reviews, but they give honest reviews. And I do believe a lot of them do. But more and more, I see these streamers turning their legion against companies. And they're kind of weaponizing it. And the more I watch these streams, the more I hear these stories, the more what I hear...
Savathun likely appointed one of her High Council wizards to keep watch over this place. Find them. The crystal is sure to be nearby.
So now I'm going to turn the public against them. And this is not new. Okay? If you want to... People with fame, people with followers have always used their fame and following to influence public opinion, to turn it on for companies that pay them and turn it off for companies that they don't get quite the money they want from. But this is YouTube. This is Twitch. This is wrong. So I've talked about one example, and it was a really sexist example of me. I apologize. But that was just the first one. The second one I'd like to talk to is another channel, a great tech channel. Again, can't mention names, but it's a Canadian tech enthusiast. He does a very good job of entertaining while talking about tech. He goes just deep enough to get you interested so that you go out and do some more research on your own, but not deep enough to be boring. And he said, I'm about to give it away now, ad block is privacy. What he meant by this is that you can use an ad block that will allow you not to have to watch ads on YouTube, meaning you can go straight to your content, watch the tutorial, watch the show, watch whatever you're trying to watch without watching the ad. Well, this affects him because if the ad is not watched, he doesn't get paid. Now, YouTube, Twitch, etc. are free platforms. Not only is it free for me to have this channel, but it's free for you to watch it. And he kind of was trying to assert the premise that the ad is the payment. Your time to watch the ad is your payment for watching his show. On its face, that's exactly true. But I would argue that you're only watching the show because it's free. Not that he's not good, because there's thousands of people on YouTube. You could watch somebody else. He is obviously entertaining enough to gain a following, but would he be entertaining enough to have his own show on HBO, NBC, whatever? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe he is. But I'm just saying, there's a difference between a show you can view for free and a show that is being funded and paid for. And for him to say ad block is piracy, to the point to reiterate it, call his viewers pirates and thieves, and then try to backtrack that by saying that not all piracy is illegal, that's the definition of the word. How can you say that? I know it's affecting your bottom line, but don't backtrack it.
No signs of a crystal so far, just rows and rows of jars filled with... Is that light?
Really good.
But it's tainted somehow.
Savathun has always encouraged her wizards to push boundaries of hive magic. It seems that hasn't changed with the light. Proof, perhaps, that corruption has far less to do with the power than the one channeling it.
Or the power has permanent side effects. Darkness transforms Savathun into kin from prey to predators.
Not darkness itself, but an entity behind it corrupted the hive, conditioned their power on an endless blood tithe. Their fate is not inevitable.
I have no doubt that some can handle darkness with discipline, but those who can't, they're not the only ones to pay the price.
This was him cherry-picking an example and making a back argument before he even recorded. But the example is a viewer commented that he should advertise his merch more, and that way he didn't have to rely on ads. Now, he's famous, internet famous. I know people that have some of his merch. I would have some of his merch, but I don't believe in spending money like that on overpriced stuff. But he said, well, if you sneak into the circus and they throw you out, you can't complain that you bought a hoodie and a soda because you never purchased a ticket to get in. But that's my exact point. There is no ticket to get into YouTube. It's free. The fact that you have been able, or they, or the community has been able to monetize it with ads is awesome. But bottom line is, it's free. Now, I don't use ad block, but I would not have a problem with anybody else doing it. And this same streamer went on a video spree against Google, the parent company of YouTube. And one of the things I learned from him, I don't believe, is the fact that YouTube has been operating at a loss for a decade. It's only in the past year that's actually been profitable. On paper, that might be true, but there's a little rule of thumb for you. No business operates as a charity. Even charities aren't charities. Cash for cash ad revenue, YouTube may not be profitable. But guess what they get? Data. Your account. What are you looking up? How often do you watch ads about Nike? How often do you watch a review about Disney toys? And that data is worth more than you can imagine. And I'm positive that if Google's not using that data themselves, they're at least farming it out to other companies. I could be wrong. I would be highly shocked if that data was just sitting out there and they never used it. And that data, the money from that data, the actual profit that YouTube was making for the past decade, the streamers don't see a penny of anyway. It's only ad-based. But he attacked Google, YouTube, for their use of bots. So the bots they use go through and look at the comments, look at whatever, and they try to filter out, like click here for sexy pics, or buy Canadian Viagra, or any kind of malicious ads that people would try to sneak in the comments. and they said that these bots don't work. Now, obviously, if you've watched enough videos, if you scrolled through all these comments, you've probably seen these malicious ads. If you know anything about cybersecurity, you know it's a circle, it's a game. Somebody finds an exploit, somebody patches it. Then that dude looks for the next exploit. No security measure is 100% foolproof. The only way YouTube, Google could prevent this is if all commenting had to be reviewed for like 2 days
This is
before
an
it's ever
inverted
posted.
realm. Explore any and all
He went on to
directions,
claim that this bot not only
especially
fails
those you least
to remove
suspect.
malicious ads, which it does sometimes. It finds one word set that it searches for, so the malicious ad placers use a different word set. Then it picks up on that word set. Like, it takes time. And every time it scours the comments and makes it clean, the bad guy finds a new hole to climb in, a new word set to use. But he said that these bots would delete malicious comments, not malicious ads, but malicious comments, basically like negative comments, before he could even see or respond to them, which is why he oftentimes never responds to negative comments. I hope that's true. I would hope that you would respond to your criticism as well as your praise, but I don't think so. So here's this guy trying to weaponize his followers against Google and YouTube because he's losing money because people are using ad block. That's just wrong. And the third example I'd like to cite tonight is what I'm going to term as the Newegg fiasco. Newegg's a computer company, been around for decades, been doing business on the web forever. Now, full disclosure, I have not dealt with Newegg. I like to shop at brick and mortar. But Newegg is a huge company, it's been doing this for decades. So the problem these streamers are coming forward with is that, number one, Newegg is welching, is going back or not paying for spots that they pay for. Sort of like, hey, make a video saying how great, reviewing this product, saying how great we are, saying Newegg's your sponsor, whatever. And then they do the video, they post it, and then Newegg just kind of forgets to pay them. This isn't just one guy doing this. This is multiple streamers doing this. And the original streamer that was saying this also said that on top of all this, on top of it all, that he ordered some parts from Newegg. Newegg shipped him some faulty equipment. He then shipped it back for an RMA, Return Merchandise Authorization. That's usually how companies work. You ship them back the broken product, they assess it, they either give you a refund or a new product. Now Newegg apparently, I didn't know this, and it's probably every other company, even though I've never experienced this, when you ship them a return, they open the box, they examine the item, and they make sure that it's a valid complaint, that you didn't take this thing home and smash it on the table a few times, whatever. So in the process of his RMA, they adjudged that he damaged the product. So he went on a spree of videos showing products he ordered from Newegg that, in his claims, arrived damaged. Because he was angry that he did an RMA and they adjudged that he had damaged the product, so he would not receive a refund. He would not receive a replacement.
Looks like we're interrupting something.
Now,
but where's the wizard overseeing all
this?
this?
A company that's been doing business for decades, that is a leading name in computer parts supply.
I think we just found the one in charge around here.
Good. Now go and beat the whereabouts of that crystal out of them.
Or is it a problem that you lost money to?
The wizard just fled.
Either they didn't
Follow them. They're closing ranks around the crystal.
Or they undercut their offer, or however. what's really the problem. Now, one of the parts in question, in fact, the part that started the fire, was a socket of a motherboard with bent pins. If you've ever ordered a motherboard online, when you receive it, it is wrapped in bubble wrap and anti-static, very well cushioned. If the outer back, it's in a box, that box is cushioned. There's another box, like this thing is typically, in my experience, packed. I don't know if specifically for Newegg they ship it that way. I assume they do because every other online retailer I've dealt with ships that way. There's at least 3 packages. Each of them is uber padded. Could it have been bent as it was shipped out? I can't say it was not. Things happen in the warehouse. People have a bad day. They don't care. They just throw the part in the box. Bam. But I cannot see Newegg refusing an RMA if they were not 100% sure that this was not damaged by the customer. A company that large, I can't see it. Now, this is all well and good if he was trying to get the situation corrected for him. But he even said in his videos that you would think with all the following he has that Newegg would step up and take his RMA. You're weaponizing people to get your way. You don't care about your followers. You don't care about other people Newegg is apparently ripping off, since this is such a common practice. As long as they give you your money back, you're good. And that's why I doubt the validity of his claims. He wants people to be mad. Boycott Newegg. So Newegg will come crawling, and Newegg will say, oh my God, you're right, it was damaged by us. Here's your money. Here's your product. We're so sorry. But guess what? If Newegg shipped you a bad piece, you would have no outlet to get 1,000 people to boycott them. He doesn't want to correct it for you. He wants to correct it for him. I just feel that there's a lot of streamers way better than me. Go ahead and roast me. My show sucks. But they have now taken the steps to weaponize their followers, and that is wrong. And I don't know what.
Looks like we're interrupting something.
Anyway,
but where's the wizard overseeing all this?
The next show is going to be a comedy show. Again, it's really hard for me to get the energy to get you all excited, so I can get some interaction in the comments, get some feedback.
I think we just found the one in charge around here.
But maybe if I do some
Good.
comedy,
Now go and beat the whereabouts of that crystal out of them.
Liven up.
The wizard just fled.
As always,
Follow them.
Carla.
They're closing ranks around the crystal.
Just her little heart out. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.